Hello, everyone. So currently, I'm just playing around with random Starship. So just in case you haven't heard, it's a totally and purely a randomizer add-on to create spaceship-looking shapes, and this is also kind of like a support tool for random flow, but more more of random flow being the support tool on this one. Like additional details can be added in using random flow. So I'm just playing around with the shape. So the only thing I have to really figure out is the UI. As you can see, it's kind of a lot of settings here. But these settings make up for the fact that the add-on is very versatile, and once you really understood by reading the online documentation of what the each of the parameters do, and there's a how to use segment there where you can create a spaceship from start to finish without the preset and just using the settings here. Not all of the settings will be used if you create a ship or a spaceship, but most of them are just exposed, so just for the versatility sake of the workflow. And my only problem right now is the UI. It's kind of vertical. I want it to be horizontal, but maybe I just in the next update I'll put an option where you can use the vertical one, where the sections are vertically or horizontally arranged, not vertical. So the only advantage with this vertical setting for now is that these toggles are not affected by the speed of the um, current settings that you have. So, for example, when you have like two subdivision, there's a bit of a slowdown right now because of the additional faces that are in the mesh. So when you play around with the big shapes, you need to reduce the subdivision. Play around with the big shapes using a lower subdivision. Then when you see a big shape that you want, then you increase the subdivision and then manage the plating detail using the plating section. So the sections, the toggle sections, is not affected by the settings. Unfortunately, right now there is no way to use this horizontally. So with the horizontal one, those toggles will be affected by the speed of the settings, but it makes the UI more intuitive, I think, and a lot simpler to look at because they're horizontal. But yeah, so I guess I'll update this and then let you select in the add-on preferences. You can find I'll let you find the toggle there, or I will be setting toggle there, or maybe in the settings here for easy access. Okay, so right now just playing around with the shapes. So you can have a lower, you can actually use this like zero subdivision and just provide the additional panel detail using random flow, or go ahead and use increased subdivision to create the panel detail using the add-on itself. And we're going to actually generate a ship. So hull section. If you want to create a really long ship, you can do that. So 8 sections. So right now I'm trying to figure out if I can turn this into a geonode modifier. I think I can turn it into a geonode, but I will be using multiple geom modifiers to achieve that effect. But if I can do that, I guess I think I could generate less um, number of settings for that, make it simpler. But this will be more powerful because of the amount of settings that you have. But the GNO modifiers equivalent will be a lot simpler, and it will be an update. It will not be a separate purchase. It will be an update to this add-on. So I really like this add-on. So I'll just do the GeoNode update for free for this one. Okay, so the shape is pretty interesting. So tolerance, when we use something like this, we have a really strange, we come up with a really, uh, wait a minute. I guess it's in the front back. Bridge tolerance, shift fronts, it's not. So one or two, there we go. So it's higher tolerance, not less. You can have a really weird result. Okay, set it back to point one or 0.05. So also in the wings, for example, in the large section, if you set the tolerance lower, it will only their wings will only generate on the faces that are strictly facing the x-axis, for example. And if you increase this, you will have large. Those wings will extrude more on the faces that are actually facing towards the z-axis. A mix of the x and z-axis. See, point one. Okay, scale interval is 3, and bevel profile. So have if I get the time to actually do it, I will be doing the GNO version, or at least attempting to. I'm not sure if I can do it yet, but I think it's in my mind. I think it's already possible to do it. So let's just settle on the shape. Let's try this one. Go to front back and bridge X depth and Z depth. You can see this is the Z depth and this is the X depth. You also have edge cuts. You can increase the edge cuts or the resolution of the faces that are being extruded at the back or the front of the ship. So more faces means more possibility of those faces to be extruded, either by the bump or other extrusions like the wings. And there's no actual ship or preset shapes for this. These are these shapes are all randomized code or numbers. Okay, let's try this one and increase the subdivision to increase the amount of faces, and therefore increase the plating detail. Layer, fill, on or off. Mhm. Done. Also, I will fix the presets as well. Let's try and fix the front uh, X depth. Front. There we go. Okay. And go to wings, large and taper, and the depth value, decrease that. So I think those are the wings. So seed value, set this to none. Okay, let's try with this shape. And a good thing about this is that it's already UV'd. You can just unwrap and then uh, let's go to random flow and then use straight UVs to straighten this UVs. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for tries. So are there tries in here? Yeah. Okay, let's repeat that. And random starship, dynamic. Okay, let's try this one. And then triangulation, angle limit of triangulation things. Triangulation is 180 degrees. So there's no triangles, I think. Okay, well, there are still triangles. Mm, 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 mm. Anyway, unwrap and mesh straight UVs, straight in the UVs. So only problem is the triangles. The straight UVs operator doesn't work on triangles, so let's just leave it at that. Okay, up in materials, and then here I'm going to use our flow panel hard soft UV. Underscore UV means it's using UV map. There you go. There's the UV map in action. This part here, I'm going to click this so I can find out which this part. Okay, so we already have something that looks, it's like a great template for starting a ship model. And we need to fix the edge mask. One 0.01 doesn't work as much for this model. Okay, and you can increase the emission and try and use an emission for this, or this emission shader group node. And then you can just play around with the offset for the randomization, the factor for the inner scale. So this is the outer scale. Let's just increase the factor to show you. So the outer scale is the big squares. So this is the factor. The factor kind of like reduces their number. So this is the outer scale. This is the big square, and the inner scale is the tiny squares inside those big squares. And then you can reduce the number using the factor. There you go. And the offset is for randomizing their position. So we have the offset for the outer scale, which is the big squares, and then we have the offset for the inner scale, which is the smaller squares inside the big squares. And now you have the lighting. So let's try and turn on the sky. Maybe use another HDRI for this sky. There we go. So experiment with the settings, like I've shown you. This is actually pretty simple. And experiment with the size of the texture. And we can also provide vertex color for this by using random flow. And let's just use black and white gradation. Let's use, there's no separation of islands, so we're going to use sharp. And the mesh has those marked sharp edges, those red edges. Those are also marked sharp, so you don't need to use marked sharp for this. And just go ahead and randomize the vertex color. Then here, delete this, and in attributes, use the vertex color. Use node wrangler for this minnow to show up. So just a bit of vertex color to create some gradation on the colors on the different sections of the ship. And set this to overlay, and you can control the intensity of the vertex color using this. There you go, and we're going to modify this. Okay. So since this is vertex color, you can just go ahead and select this and change it anytime that you want. Probably set this to 0.8. Okay, so we have that. I'm just gonna save this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we can put in layer in some greeble detail for this to create more detail. But this shape, if you want, you can already use this for as a background asset for something far away like that. If you find some parts that aren't your liking, you can just modify them um, after the operation. You can scale, move, or delete the part entirely if you want. Okay, so going to use the pre-select add-on. The pre-select add-on is a 45 support tool for random flow to let you select this big swaths of faces easily. So you can find it in my Patreon and it's for free. You just have to become a free member. So there is a public post in Patreon, and there's also a member post. You can become a member for free. You don't have to pay anything. And I think that is just so uh, a Patreon content creator can monitor how many people are is it of course serving up with this content instead of just everyone being some unknown visitor. So the the the, the Patreon creator may not be inspired is seeing like zero activity. So the free member count is actually a good way to tell that the Patreon account is active. Okay, random cells, depths, individual depth, reduce the pole size, and increase the subdivision to make the sticks smaller, and reduce the depth. And we have the thickness. So my UI might be different than yours. This will be in the next update. So I fixed some of the UI and especially the margin. I think the margin is on top of thickness, so I relocated it on top of offset and beneath the depth properties. It is 10. So this is just to break. I usually do this with ships to create the spikes. You know, I've seen this in the Centradi ships in Robotech when they have this stick like thorns shapes on the ships, and it's to break up the shape of the otherwise really smooth shape of the Centradi or the alien ship. It's also present, I think, in the SDF-1, but they are shapes that kind of connotes the like antennas or something. Okay, cuts and we'll see. So the size of the fluted faces can be affected by the extrusion, subdivision. I mean, not extrusion. That is building. Okay, and render. So all of my tools are just makes it easier for you to sketch your ideas. Okay. So and also try and I think add in some more uh, details. Square inverted using, there you go, little shapes, and set the depth to even depth. So this is also another UI change for the next update. So even depth is on top of thickness. So I relegated it or relocated it in the on top of depth and underneath the thickness parameter. Okay, so margin, so thickness is that, and you increase the number using this. And this is just to create those tiny shapes on the surface. There you go. You can layer another one or using a separate another separate operation and use different set values or different subdivision value. There you go. So just tiny shapes to break apart. So we have greeble detail to break up, kind of just break up the outer profile a bit. And then we have those small shapes to break up the inner space. So outer space, inner space, the profile. And we can add in some more. I think we can use this the floater detail trick, mesh inner. So it creates these wires instead of adding faces and just this really thin wires. Look at that. And makes it look like it's a part of the ship underneath, but I think it's too noisy. So we need to actually fix the settings. 0.01, thickness is 0.201. Okay, depth is 0.005. There you go. So let's use the most chaotic solver, which is the walk, and check out shortest, check out none. So none. Let's try the none. Okay. So the randomized mesh that you're layering, so they're parented to the source object that you've selected for the randomization, and it is activated using this settings here. Parent to source. If you deactivate this, then the randomized shape will not be automatically parented to the source object. Okay, so yeah, this is our ship. Can we see the lines, or is it? Yeah, we can see the line. Let's try and change the vertex color to something darker. That, there you go. Because it inherited the material and also inherited the vertex color of the um, source mesh or the work mesh or the active mesh you use for the randomization. Okay, so that is how you would uh, dribble this, starting from random starship, then using random flow. And for the thrusters, Since we don't have any, it's not really using any preset shape. This is all randomized. You can just model in the thruster part yourself. Okay, let's change the lines. It's actually too chaotic. I'm also going to update the pre-select add-on to let you easily delete face islands or individual face islands. So it will go in work in tandem with random panels or random loop extrude and other randomizer in the random flow add-on, which of course, let's just purge the data, which of course deals with separate face islands. And when you use the pre-select add-on, it will easily let you delete those unwanted panel islands in your mesh easily without going into edit mode. And you can do that just by staying in object mode. So kind of like this. The pre-select add-on also works in object mode. Okay, let's change the vertex color of this to make it more visible. There we go. Let's post this. Go to format, render only the region, and go to rock lights, make empty unfocus on this part. We go, and we can just select a really cool lighting. There you go. So you can use this in full 3D, or if you're planning to overpaint. If you have overpainting skills, of course, it will be really cool. Our Starship model. There you go. So you just have to play with the lights to really bring out the detail in the mesh. Okay. Yeah, just this is just a simple video to show you how I use random starship and random flow together. Okay, so like I said, there will be an update for random starship, which deals with the UI, particularly with the UI, and also random flow. The next update will be, of course, the UI changes, and then fix for the geonode. There will be an additional modifier that now I figured out how to actually delete the center faces when using a mirror modifier, and of course trying to clip the faces and the symmetry point to get rid of the split in that area. So right now, there's if you click the faces on those area, the center faces remain, and it kind of messes up the shading. So in the next update, there will be another geonode modifier stacked below that, or placed below the randomizer modifier and the mirror modifier to get rid of those symmetry line faces. Okay, and that will be in the next couple of days, and hopefully after passing that, I will be fixing the online documentation for random flow and panel cutter, especially panel cutter, which has received a major overhaul. Okay, so yeah, that is what to expect in a few days or coming weeks. So if you have any questions, use the comment section below or the links in the description. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Go ahead and visit my Patreon. There's a lot of free stuff there. Okay.